Hello, welcome back. Flyingcloudzen.org. This is our YouTube channel, and I want to talk today for a few minutes too about daily sitting and retreats, why both matter. Daily sitting and retreats, why both are so important to us as mindfulness practitioners, as meditation practitioners, as contemplatives, as Zen students, whatever your favorite label for this thing that we call awareness work is, whatever your favorite label is. We hear a lot about the importance of daily sitting, and of course we should hear a lot about the importance of daily sitting. This is kind of the equivalent of keeping the bicycle upright by just steadily and continually and habitually and devotedly pressing the pedals, just continuing to press the pedals, continuing to keep our practice upright. I kind of like the bicycle metaphor. Just getting to the cushion every day. Getting to the cushion every day is the regularity of that, the frequency of that is far more important than the length of the sitting. That's something that a lot of folks who are newer especially ask about. And I think the truism in the traditions of meditation that I've practiced and read about, the teachers that I've met and learned from, have always emphasized regularity and frequency over length of sitting. So, you know, when you can sit every day for an hour, breaking that up into a couple of half-an-hour sittings, maybe half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, that'd be ideal. That'd be fantastic. You know, if you could put an hour in every day. Not all of us are able to do that for a variety of different reasons. Perhaps that bar is a little high for some of us. If that's the case, you know, a half an hour a day, maybe 40 minutes broken up into a couple of 20s, or even a couple of 15s, or just a half an hour sitting, or a 20-minute sitting, or on those days when life kind of gets away from you, things are crazy, health is an issue, you're in a different space, you're traveling, for whatever reason, things are very chaotic on that day. Just putting in a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the cushion can be hugely important. So what we're talking about here is the regularity with which we remind ourselves of the awareness dimension of our lives, right? The frequency with which we remind ourselves that we are in fact the witness, right? We are in fact the observer. We are in fact consciousness. We are that which watches, that which holds, right? So when we get practiced at doing that, we are more likely in any given circumstance, on or off the cushion, to remember, oh wait, I'm the observer. We call this mindfulness, if you wish, the mindful observer. Right. I'm the one who's watching this. I'm the one who's watching this. What does it feel like to stay connected to the body that's engaged in the activity that the body's engaged in? What is it like to be the one who observes and holds the emotions that are arising? The observer of the thoughts, the narratives, the beliefs, the desires, the impulses that are arising. Oh, I can see it, I can see it. But it takes frequent reminding. Hey, you're the one who's watching. Hey, you're the one who's watching. Hey, you're the one who's watching. Right? It takes quite a bit of retraining. And so the frequency with which we remind ourselves becomes really important. Daily sitting, we sit every day, keeps the bicycle upright, it kind of keeps the muscles in shape because we just keep using them, basically, right? These muscles of awareness, you know. It is a habit of consciousness. It's just a way of working with consciousness. But it makes sense that in order to really be able to sustain awareness, to be able to sustain that observing presence, practice every day, practice every day. So it's important. It's important. Try to make it to the cushion every day. Even a few minutes matters. Even a few minutes matters. But then the second practice that we emphasize in meditation communities is retreats, retreat practice. It is a huge gift that we give to ourselves and, of course, by extension to the world, when we're able to drop everything and to really immerse ourselves in a much more intense, I want to say meditation container, but it's really kind of a deep dive into our own self-awareness. So retreat practice, I don't know a meditation center that doesn't offer some form of retreat practice, whether that's a multi-hour kind of a short retreat immersion, 3 hours, 6 hours on a weekend or something like that, a full day, a weekend, a week, a month. I mean, ultimately it's just up to how much time you have. And it's kind of a big ask at the beginning. It feels like a big ask at the beginning to take an entire day, an entire weekend, an entire week away from your normal life to do nothing but meditation. But those of us who have done this, especially those of us who have done a lot of this, begin to really understand why it's emphasized so strongly, why the importance is put on immersion practice, retreat practice. There are just places that we are able to get to, most of us anyway, places we're able to get to during retreats that we really have a hard time accessing with just daily sitting. During a 30-minute sitting, a 40-minute sitting, a lot of that top layer of chatter, a lot of that top layer can begin to calm itself. But, a half hour isn't very long. And so if I do a sitting in a retreat, followed by another sitting, followed by another sitting, followed by another sitting over the course of hours, over the course of a day, a weekend, a week, I really give myself the opportunity to see deeply beneath that top layer, and then the layer under that, and then the layer under that, and then the layer under that. This kind of makes sense, right? It's a little like archaeology. If I only have a half an hour to dig, I can only get so far. But if I have a whole day, if I have a weekend, if I have a week, if I have a month, I'm trying to use my words cautiously here, because what I don't want to convey is the idea that there is a certain type of experience that we're trying to get to. Please don't hear that in what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is parts of ourselves that are able to show themselves. There are parts of myself that show themselves. If I'm just sitting quietly and I'm not doing anything else, and I'm just focusing my awareness on my immediate experience, I get more connected to myself. It doesn't take that long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour. Oh, there you are. I feel you. Oh, I see you. Oh, that's what that narrative is about. I get it, right? It doesn't take that long to connect to yourself. But that said, if I do nothing but that for hours, again, for a day, for a weekend, for a week, it makes sense I'm going to be able to connect to deeper and deeper parts of me, right? What I'm not saying is that that's going to show up looking or feeling a particular way, right? It isn't that if I sit for 6 hours, I'm going to get to a bliss state that I can't get to if I only sit for half an hour. I'm not saying that. I'm not. I mean, it might show up that way. That's always lovely. But that's actually not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about when I talk about the layers is we all kind of know. We only have to sit a few times before we start realizing, yeah, the top layer is mostly just kind of distracted chatter. That's the way we function in our lives. And after we sit for a little while, we start feeling the impulses and some of the deeper patterning of our consciousness, deeper programming of who we imagine we are underneath that. And if we sit a little longer, we can start to see what's kind of underneath that. And we kind of get a sense of, oh yeah, oh, I kind of get it. There's a lot more going on in this human experience than I had first imagined. And so by looking deeply, looking really deeply, I start to see it. Right? The metaphor that Buddhism has used for a long, long time is silty water, cloudy water, being given the chance to sit still, and then it begins to clear. The sediment calms and begins to settle at the bottom, and then the water becomes clear. It's a lovely metaphor. Yeah. And so if I leave that glass of silty water still for 10 minutes, it gets kind of clear. And if I leave it still for half an hour, it gets much more clear. What would happen if I just left that, allowed it to be very, very still for hours, for days. You can imagine how much of the silt would fall down to the bottom, even those little tiny particles. So not only are we able to see parts of ourselves much more clearly, we're also able at some point to begin to apprehend what is at the bottom, right? There is a reason that the waves get churning. There's a reason, right? That we get churned up. And some of it is outside forces. That's the wind blowing the little waves along the surface, but there's also forces underneath, right, that keep things moving. And we start to see, oh, deeper emotion, deeper layers of memory, stuff that's stored in our body, karma, right? So longer sittings, longer retreat experiences generally give us the opportunity to connect to those deeper parts of ourselves. It's more of a sustained effort, right? So I hope you're starting to kind of see, oh yeah, I can sort of see why both are emphasized, right foot, left foot. Like we need both the daily, keep it upright, keep it going, keep the wheels oiled, right? Keep the mechanism moving. And at the same time, when you're able, give yourself the gift of the deep immersion, because there are layers that you can see. Oh yeah. And for folks, and this is most all of us, honestly, but especially for folks at the beginning, we so strongly associate, because of our culture messages, we so strongly associate meditation with peace and calm and ease. And setting a timer for 20 minutes and sitting doesn't usually give us much of a taste of that. Perhaps a little, which is lovely. But we're humans, right? We do need a little bit of positive kind of reinforcement to develop a habit and to stick with it. We just need a little bit of a, oh, I get it. I felt it. It worked. It's kind of what I'm looking for. And retreats for a lot of people are the container that gives them that. The mind doesn't have much of a chance really to let go of its patterning in a half an hour. But after several hours, after a day, after a weekend, wow. And of course, that's one of the great stereotypes I'm sure everybody here has heard, is the person coming back to work on Monday after being away for the weekend at a meditation retreat and just talking about feeling calm and centered and rejuvenated and experience being very vibrant. And they saw parts of themselves they hadn't seen before, and a little bit of that kind of experience that people associate with meditation retreats. Yeah, there's some truth to that stereotype. You bet. You bet. So don't deny yourself. Don't deny yourself the opportunity to touch deeper and deeper parts of yourself that a meditation retreat setting offers. So the last thing I'll offer you is the metaphor of learning another language, because I think this also makes sense to me. In school, I took German was my second language. I think we all had to take a second language, if I remember. And I took German because I have German ancestry. And so the flashcards, you do them every day. You do your flashcards every day. You read your German book every day. You practice. This is the vocab word. This is the word for this. This is the word for that. And you do it every day. You keep those wheels greased, like I said, right? You do that for half an hour every day, you're going to increase your German vocabulary, really rapidly. You practice those conversations from the book. You practice with your friends. You go to school and you practice it. Okay, I get it. I'm starting to learn it. But everybody who has tried to pick up a second language knows, if you have the opportunity to get on a plane and fly overseas to that country and just immerse yourself, wow, will you pick up that language a lot quicker than if you were here practicing it for a half an hour a day. To me, that metaphor works perfectly. My half an hour a day of meditation, hugely important just to keep that part of me awake. Absolutely crucial, right? Kind of my lifeblood. And when I have the opportunity to immerse myself completely in it, I have the opportunity to immerse myself completely in it, right? It's sort of self-evident, right? So during the weeks I spent in Germany, it was like every sign is in German. Every conversation that I overhear is in German. Every radio station is German. Every single thing is this other language. And I'm just constantly immersed in it. I'm breathing it in, right? So of course I'm going to learn it, more quickly, I'm going to start to understand it at a much deeper level. Of course, that makes sense. And again, meditation being the same way. People walk away from extended meditation retreats, especially after we've done many of them. It really is like discovering another part of your consciousness, another way in which the vehicle for consciousness works. And it starts to feel more like at home, right? Oh, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. And then some of the more advanced teachings of meditation, some of the more kind of esoteric, hard to understand ideas that meditation traditions talk about, stop feeling strange or alien or foreign and start going, oh yeah, I get it. That actually makes a lot of sense to me, right? There are just intuitive parts of us that meditation starts to crack open, but it takes sustained effort and a deep immersion for that language to start making sense. Okay, that's as much as I think I need to say. This is me encouraging you. Do your practice every day, right? Figure out a way to get to the cushion every day. Set your alarm a little earlier, stay up a little later, rearrange your lunch break, figure out a way, right, of establishing a new habit. Keep suiting up and showing up. That's how we do this stuff. And join us for retreats, short retreats, long retreats. Go to Zen centers in person if you're able to, or virtually. Either way, these days with everything being offered virtually, you have the opportunity to attend retreats all over the country, all over the world, right? So accessibility is really no longer an excuse. In the post-COVID era, every meditation center is doing hybrid programming and virtual offerings and Zoom connections and stuff like that. So if you want to go to a meditation retreat this weekend, you will be able to find online a meditation retreat this weekend that you can attend, right? With zero commute. So whether in person or online, connect to a community, connect to Sangha, connect to other people doing it, and give yourself the opportunity to dive in a little more deeply than you usually would. That's my encouragement to you. Right foot, left foot. Daily practice and retreats. Flashcards and travel. Okay. Thank you for your attention. If you've got questions about any of this kind of stuff or feedback, let me know. I'm always encouraging dialogue. So thank you for your attention. Blessings to you. We'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.